Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Ray. I'm the chair of ANC 1E's Zoning and Economic Development Committee. I'm joined right now by Patrick Nelson. I'm not seeing yet any other members of the committee in the attendees list, but we'll give folks just another minute or two. Ms. Wilson, I do see you there, and I know you're our only case, so we'll get right to you here in a moment. But we'll give. I know I heard from Tony, Pat, that he was planning to be here, so
Yeah, I'm assuming he will be.
yeah. So I mean, I see a few names that I don't recognize. If you're, hi, I see a hand raised from, is it Miss Briscoe?
Oh, no, it should be Dimitri. Why is it
Oh,
coming up
there
with
you
Miss
go.
Briscoe? That's not good.
I'm gonna raise you to panelist. Thank you.
Okay, I might have to change my name.
Yeah, when you get up here, you'll be able to rename yourself to whoever you are tonight. Can be whoever you like to be. Is there anyone else who might be under a different name who sits on the committee? You can raise your hand and I'll go ahead and make you a panelist. Otherwise, we'll give it another minute. Just the one case, so we should get through it I hope fairly quickly. All right. Let's go ahead and do this. Good evening, Miss Wilson.
Hi, good evening.
Great. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Very well, thank you. Is there anyone
Good.
else that you need for your presentation? I see there's an
Sure.
Angela and a John in the waiting room.
Yep. They would so Angela is the owner
Yeah.
and John's part of the ownership team as well. So yeah, if you could let them in just in case there are any questions, but I'll run through the majority of the
You'll give the
presentation.
presentation.
Yeah.
Not a problem. We'll just give them a moment to do that,
Perfect.
and then you can get started.
Great. And I'm gonna screen share. It says 30 slides. I promise I'm not gonna go through each one.
Great.
So this project is 438 Park Road. Angela and John are the ownership team. I'm the project attorney, and we have a hearing coming up on November 19th. Just for some context, it's next to the Armed Forces Retirement Home. So the property next door, 436 Park, was approved to be renovated and converted to 3 units in 2019, and it has been renovated and converted. And we're proposing an identical, but it's mirrored addition to 436 Park Road. And at the time, it was located in ANC 1A, and ANC supported that with the condition that there be one parking space put in the rear, even if it could not be a formal legal space because of this alley width, which it's only 8 feet. I think it actually shrinks down to 6 feet around here with the utility pole, but it cannot be considered proper access for the regs because we need 10 feet. And so we are asking for parking relief in this case too, similar to 436, as well as some other items that I'll go into now. But I just wanted to note that that was the ANC's condition, and we have maintained that on this project as well. In terms of the scope and related relief, so the project scope includes a partial rear addition. Let me see if I can zoom in a little. Right now, there's a covered porch that matches the covered porch here. And that's going to be removed and bumped out on this side only. And the rear yard will be about 6.5 feet here. and a 20-foot rear yard is being maintained here, but we need rear yard relief for this side. And then the distance from the covered porch is about 5.5 feet. But the distance from the rear wall here to here is 19 feet and change. And so we need 10-foot roll relief for this here. And I mentioned there's a new text amendment that hasn't been voted on yet that would change the 10-foot roll to the 16-foot roll. We would still need relief, but if that did pass while this case was still going, the degree of relief could change. But the impact remains the same on light and air. There's no substantial impact, and I'll get into the shadow studies. But for the rear addition, we need 10-foot relief and rear yard relief. And then we also need architectural elements relief. It's going to match the character of the adjacent property, and I have photos of the street I'll walk through. But for the side addition, we need to remove this bay window, and it has a cornice. And so we need relief for that. And then this 1-story addition is not original, but we are altering the cornices. So we need to, not the cornices, the dormers. So we're going to remove this dormer and do 2 dormers, just like the one next door. So we need architectural elements relief for that. I discussed the parking relief, and then finally the conversion relief. This building is currently a single-family home. It has the required land area and even a little bit more to convert it 900 square feet per unit. And so for the architectural elements relief, it's that this test primarily is that it must not substantially visually intrude upon the character, pattern, or scale of houses along the street or alley. So this, I think, is an example of a visual intrusion. And I remember in the last case, there's this and another pop-up in somewhere on this block, maybe, that was pointed to as ones that did not quite fit the pattern and scale of houses, compared to, say, this one that was ultimately proposed at 436, which we are going to match that. And then I linked the Google map. There we go for quick access.
Can I ask a question? Is this
Yes.
both buildings, or is it just the one on the left?
It's just the one on the left.
Okay, thank
Here.
you.
Yes, and Ms. Phillips can talk a little bit more about this. We've reached out to this neighbor, I think 3 or 4 times, knocked on doors, sent certified mail, and we've received some support, and she's talked to two of the owners in this building here. But we are still trying to get in touch with her if anybody has her contact information, because door knocking has not seemed to work in this case. But in terms of the architectural elements relief, what's great is we have an example here of what it is going to look like in context in the block, which you don't typically get. And so if you can see here, this one's going to look just like this, and it's going to maintain the pattern and roof lines on this block here. And I think this is a good comparison of something that's a bit out of character. It's certainly larger and taller than the other buildings compared to this. As you go down, you can see it meets the pattern and scale. There is a second dormer, but it still meets the pattern generally. And then in terms of shadows and shade, the properties are oriented north-south. So shade is only cast towards the west, and it impacts the 440 property only in the morning. The shade is gone by noon, and there's no impact in the winter months. We're going to get a formal shadow study done comparing 10 feet to the 19 feet proposed. But the materials are due next week for BZA, but I wanted to get something done here to show you all. And there's additional existing foliage on the property, an accessory building that already casts shade and shadow. So I pulled these from DCOZ's website and their 3D map showing what's existing now. So this is the subject property, and this is the most impacted property next door at 440. And that's the property related to the 10-foot roll relief. And so this is 9 a.m. on in fall on the equinox. And there's already some shade there. But as you can see, it's gone by noon, and this pattern continues in every season throughout the year. The shade is gone by noon, This is 3 p.m. and then it's heading more towards the east. This is 9 a.m. in the winter and it's all shaded. And this is 9 a.m. summer. There'll obviously be more shadow from the addition, but these are just to show it's going to be gone by noon. And then this is 9 a.m. in the spring. And then I wanted to show the rears. This is the alley. It's very narrow. I talked about the parking relief. This building on the corner goes all the way to the property line or near it. This is 436 here. And this is the subject property with a fence here. And so that will be redone. There's going to be a new privacy fence for the benefit of both neighbors. And then the addition will go here, but there's already some existing foliage and accessory building. All of this is going to be cleaned up. And then this is the view along the alley. There are a lot of accessory buildings in the rear that go to the property line. And so the proposed addition should not impact that view either. And then I do have plans, and I'm not going to linger on any page, but it's the existing site plan, floor plans, elevations. This is the proposed site plan, and I can go back to any of these for specific questions.
Actually, but since you're right there, can you, are those trash receptacles in the rear?
They are, and I noticed as I was looking at pictures that 436 has them up front.
And the reason I say that is because with an alley of that size, the
Yeah.
trash get picked up back there. I mean, they could be stored there, but how would they get to the? Can they get to the front from that location?
That's the question. I had as I was going through the plans. That's something we can rework. I know it's typically preferred to have the trash storage in the rear for both the residents but if there's no way to get it, we would have to do trash storage up front, like I see a lot of people do. So
Yeah, this is a common issue along those
Yeah.
400 blocks of not just Park, but the others where the trash comes from the front and it does create a visual issue. It also creates a lot of loose trash that would typically be in an alley. But there's no, unfortunately, there's just no way around it here. But if you're gonna make a space, you better make it where you can actually get them in and out. So
yeah, and we can look more closely at that too.
okay.
Okay, so these are the floor plans, and then the proposed north elevation, east. And then our east side yard is 5 feet, and that's what is required by zoning. And then 436 also has a 5-foot side yard. And then the other side, there are no windows on either side, just at the rear.
So the
So
distance, the new distance between the new addition and the already existing redeveloped home will be 5 feet. Is
5 feet, and then another, so 10 feet total.
Oh, okay. So there would be, so where is that 10 feet in here on there? Okay. Well, that doesn't look
So
like 10 feet but if it is, that's great.
yes. Yep, because there was a 5-foot side yard. 5-foot side yard on this and 5-foot side yard on this one. So it's supposed to
Oh,
be
I
10
see. I
feet.
see. I see. So what are those boxes are those those are window wells. So
Yeah.
between the two, okay, so more importantly then, between the two window wells, what's the distance?
I don't know.
Okay.
We can have the architect put that dimension in though.
Yeah, because again, and again, I'm only pointing it out because it goes back to that trash. If there's a way
Yeah.
to bring them down there, but then again, if ever the property owners decided to put in a fence, clearly that space would be halved.
Yeah, we can work. We should figure that out too before it's one of my notes to figure out before our filing
Okay,
on next week. Yeah.
thanks.
That's it for the presentation. We're happy to answer any questions.
Great. Let me hold on a second. So, does anyone on the panel have any other questions? I may have some myself, but I'll let other folks go first.
I just have a couple of follow-up comments. Alexandria, based on the fact that it's the first time I'm seeing these drawings, this proposed house is going to be exactly the same as the one that's on the other side of the alley. Is that correct?
That is correct, and it's the same the same contractor too. Mr. Azat was involved in the first one as well.
So the 10-foot extension in the back is exactly the same as what's been already built on the other side.
Correct.
Okay, and then you had mentioned that the parking space, are you still proposing doing that, or that was just something that
Yes.
was mentioned when it was supported by ANC 1A?
Yes. Yep. That's still in our proposal. We need the relief because it's not legal, but we're still proposing that space there.
Okay.
Yeah, and for everyone, I worked on that case when it was at 1A, with the idea being that if a person came and they had a mini, I don't know if they even sell those small cars anymore. Don't even know that that's available. That you could probably get that in and out of there, but otherwise the space could be used as an open patio, as a you know a as a regular patio. So either way, it was kind of there for the use of the home was the idea.
And I did see a VW Bug parked when I was looking through the alley. So something like that could fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are these going to be rental units or saleable condos?
I'd defer to either John or Angela for that.
Sellable
Sure.
condos. Sellable condos?
Okay.
Condos that we're gonna sell.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Anything
if
else,
you heard me.
Patrick?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Dimitri, did you?
Yeah, I do just as I mean, from my perspective, this really is only impacting the one neighbor. So, I understand the difficulty, connecting with that individual or group or whoever, but, um, you know, uh, I guess I don't have any objections or anything, unless we hear something that that neighbor would have any feedback on. But
Yeah.
folks that are closer
Yeah.
to it,
I mean, I will say, this block and across the street have tended to be a little bit more. Um, they've had more issues when people try to make major changes. So I can't speak to this neighbor. I don't recall if I've ever met them, or if they've come to any of these other meetings for the
Mhm.
properties. We've had multiple of these on the other side on the other side of the street. So do what you can, to get the only concern really being that 18 or 19 feet extension off the
Yeah.
back. If there's something we're not aware of, that they're going to have a problem with, that we would
And we
want
want
to
to, yeah.
hear, just to hear. I'm not saying that it's going to change.
Yeah.
The
No,
ANC will do what it will do, but just to hear
right.
if they have a problem or not.
Well, we want to know too before
Yeah.
BZA, rather than have someone show up. So that's been a huge priority. And we've sent certified mail to her, knocked on doors. We've sent certified mail to, I think, at least 10 neighbors too, just in the immediate area. So, in addition to the BZA notices, we typically go a step further.
Yeah. Good to know. I don't know that we do have some other attendees. So I'll just ask, if you're here and you have any questions that you'd like to ask, or you have any comments, you can
Yes.
raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Sorry, was someone speaking?
Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, who is the single member district person?
I believe this is Audra Grant's, SMD.
She has an opinion of what she had spoken on this?
I don't, I'll be honest, I've not spoken to her, so I'm not sure how, how involved she's become on this one, but I can certainly check in with her, in advance, and she can watch this so that she has a heads up. But they do get these notices themselves, so I'm hopeful that she is aware that the case is going on. Anything else, Tony?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing any hands raised. I mean, and again, just I think the materials that were used, a lot of brick facade. I'm assuming that we're continuing that as we did
Yes.
with the property next door. I do believe the dormers were certainly a question that Commissioner Bass would have brought up quite a bit. So if we're matching the same type of style of dormer, I don't think then that's going to be an issue. Although Commissioner Bass is no longer a commissioner, but he does tend to get involved sometimes. Um, so I can't think of anything else. I would certainly again back to the neighbor, back to the question of how you're going to handle the trash, knowing that it gets collected from the front, not from the rear. Now that the two homes are going to be so much closer, and you may not have easy access to get them in and out. In
Right.
fact, you may need to think about that even for the current how the property that you already did has been doing it. I mean, that's not necessarily your thing to worry about, but it could be it could be an issue.
I can make a comment to that.
Yeah.
So we ended up building a little obscure section in the front of the property
Okay.
on the one side. And I think we would end up doing the same thing on this side, between the two neighbors,
Okay.
creating a little fence, if you will.
Yeah.
That will hide them, and it'll be there so they can bring them to the front because the trash is collected in the front.
Yeah.
I think that's the direction we would go,
Okay.
which is
And
what we did next door.
yeah, then that's good. Um, so the relief areas were the 19 feet in the back. The you can't have a parking space because the alley is not a legal alley, and then the conversion to the 3 units. And was there something else, Alexandra?
The architectural elements for the
Oh,
dormer
I was
and
going to ask.
and
I was
cornice.
going to ask a
Yeah.
question on that one.
Yeah.
We have a new. When I say new, I think it's been within the last year. There's a new zoning administrator. Has the zoning administrator been looking at architectural elements in any different way than maybe we're used to with our previous gentleman that was there for quite a long time? Are you aware of any changes in the way they're looking at architectural elements? They didn't
I'm
tell you how to
not.
do this.
No, I'm not. They did not tell us that we need this. This is from years of my own experience.
Okay.
And I think it'll cover everything, hopefully, so that we don't have to do any sort of modification.
Okay.
And that's what we've been very detailed in the description of what we're asking for relief from.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion later on.
I bring it up only I have noted that some homes in the neighborhood have had their front porches removed and they did not go through a BZA architectural element review. I don't know if that's because the zoning administrator is taking a different approach or they didn't tell anybody they were going to take off the porch. Not sure. But I'm curious if you haven't heard anything about that then.
No, but they have been approving a lot of things that should not be approved that are seemingly minor. And then now, a year later, a lot of people are coming to us. I built
Oh,
my house
okay.
with a permit, and
Yeah.
they're telling me I can't continue living here. So that's been happening.
Wow. Okay. Well, then you see, this is of course what happens when you get changes in leadership
Hmm.
positions like the zoning administrator or the general counsel for certain agencies. I won't name them now. That these these things happen, and then suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, we're not doing it the way we've been doing it for 15
Yeah.
years." Okay. Sorry, that's an aside for everybody else. I don't have any other questions. I'm assuming that no one else in the panel does. So I will make a motion that we will recommend to the ANC that they support this application, provided that we don't get anything jaw-dropping from the next door neighbor that needs to be addressed. But address those issues that we brought up about the trash and the this isn't quite a motion yet. I'm just talking through it. Um, uh, uh, for the trash and try to get in touch with the neighbor. Was that it? Yeah. But I think this committee can recommend to the ANC that it should move forward with an approval, and we'll make sure they don't have any other questions. But with that, I will make a motion of support. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Dimitri?
Aye.
Perfect. So it's unanimous. For John's knowledge, we make this recommendation. It goes to the ANC. The ANC will need to make a vote at its next meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight, where they would codify this into the report. We will draft that report, and hopefully they will just accept it as that is. But unless you have any questions, I think you're in good shape.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you all so much and have a wonderful night.
All right.
Thank
And with
you.
that, we're done, everyone. Have a good evening.
Good night.
See you all. Bye.
Yeah. And thank you.
Thank you.